In this video, I'm going to cover how to create a new virtual machine in VirtualBox and then install Xubuntu on that virtual machine. First kind of prerequisite, right, is you already have VirtualBox installed. I can go and open this. Here we go, VirtualBox. Now, just to kind of save us time, what I'm going to do before we step to the process of creating the virtual machine is go ahead and actually download a copy of Xubuntu. So I have my browser open over here. This is xubuntu.org. This is the website for this particular Linux distribution. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and click download. That brings up this page over here, Get Xubuntu. Now, there are several different releases of this version of Linux, but what I'm interested in is kind of what is the last stable version, or last LST release, long-term support. So that's 16.04. The Linux distributions typically, or at least the Ubuntu ones, use a numbering system based off of the year and month of release. So this is the last well-supported version. This is what we're going to use. Do you want to get the 64-bit or the 32-bit version of this operating system? Typically, 64-bit will work for everybody these days, but maybe for some reason you need 32-bit. 32-bit is actually what I'm going to use just because it's what I have what I have already downloaded. Now, let's say in your page, you can use a torrent to get it. This is what I call an ISO file, right? An ISO file is basically a copy or an image of a CD or a DVD that contains some files. That's what we're going to basically put into our virtual machine in order to install Linux. Over here, what you want is to scroll down and download the ISO, right? Download the CD image. So basically, there's a bunch of list of countries here, and you can pick whatever is closest to you. So if you're in the US, right, you can go and click United States. This will open up another web page which has a list of all the files that are available to you. So what I want is the most recent version. That's going to be the 16.04.2. So these things down here at the bottom are going to be the ones I want to look at. For the sake of this video, I'm going to look at the ones on the bottom here, which say i386. Those are the 32-bit versions. AMD64 are the 64-bit files. And then what I want to look for is the .iso file. This is going to be the biggest one. The other ones are also the different metadata, but you notice that this .iso file is 1 gigabyte. So that's what I'm going to want. So this would be the file that I download, or if you're in 64-bit, you download this one over here. So let's say we already got it. I already have it saved on my desktop, so we should be good to go. Now I can close my browser, go over to VirtualBox. So inside of VirtualBox, I have that copy of the operating system that I've downloaded. I put it over here on my desktop. This is the .iso file. But what I want to do is I want to create a new virtual machine to install that operating system onto. So I'm going to go ahead and click New. So I click New, and I'm going to type in, I don't know, SER334 Xubuntu. So that'll be the name of my virtual machine. I want to set this to be Ubuntu 32-bit. Xubuntu is a Linux distribution based on Ubuntu. And I have 32-bit, so I'm going to select 32-bit over here. Usually it'll select this one over here. That should be set to Linux. Alright. I'll click Next. Amount of RAM. I'll give it a little bit more than this. I'll give it, 2 gigabytes is probably fine. Default was 1 GB. Upped it. Let's see. Create a new virtual hard drive. I can go ahead and just click right here. It'll give me another little tutorial here. The first option is fine. VirtualBox disk image. Dynamically allocated. So a point here is that I'm in the process right now of creating a virtual hard drive to install my operating system onto. And I have kind of two choices. One is I can have a hard drive that's basically permanently allocated, right? So I can ask for, oh, hey, give me a 60 GB hard drive, and then if I had the fixed size option down here, well, that would give me basically a 60 GB file on my disk. Or I can click dynamically allocated, which means that it's a file that will grow as large as 60 GB, right? So it won't take up all 60 at the same time, just as the operating system needs it, right? It'll gradually grow, right? The operating system will see that 60 GB inside, but to us, right, in the host, we'll only see basically whatever is actually needed, right? That's how big the file will be. So it's a very convenient feature. I'm going to leave it then on this dynamically allocated. For size, I'll make this 30 GB. That should be plenty for us. Leave the file, the name of it alone. Go ahead and click Create. And there we have it. That's a new virtual machine that I can install an operating system onto. You can look through here. There's other settings that you can maybe explore if you want to customize it a little bit more. For us, though, we'll go ahead and go into actually installing our operating system on this virtual machine. So first thing I'm going to do is double-click on the name of the virtual machine. This will start it up, right? This is equivalent of powering it on. Once it starts up, it'll give me kind of a blank system because there's no operating system installed on it. Here, because VirtualBox is kind of smart, it knows that, oh, there's nothing installed on here, you've never used it before, and so you probably want to select an operating system to install on it. So what we're going to do is we're going to select that file, right, that disk image, and basically load that into our system. So I'm going to click over here, and I'm going to go and select that file. So I'm in desktop, and here I'll select that .iso. So now I have the ISO selected, I can go ahead and click start. So now this is the equivalent of turning on my machine with that installed disk, right, for that operating system sitting in the drive. So now you can see something's happening. There's a little icon at the bottom. Slowly we're powering on. We're seeing that there's a flashing cursor. Okay, so now I have something that's actually useful. I'm going to go ahead and close this up top. This is basically just telling me that the operating system that I'm running supports pointer integration. So basically I'm able to use my mouse over here seamlessly and move it back out. So I'm going to select English. I want to install Xubuntu, so I'll click this button over here. Okay, I'm not going to bother installing updates while I'm downloading updates while I install it. I just want the base thing. I don't really need the optional drivers. I'll go ahead and click continue. Over here I'm being asked what type of installation. Here I'll leave it on default. Erase disk, install Ubuntu. Remember that we're in a virtual machine and we created a hard disk earlier. So this is going to erase that disk, right? So it's leaving our host alone. It's just doing the work inside of that virtual machine. These are the changes. I can go ahead and do continue on that. Now I'm being asked for my time zone. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to leave this alone. This right now is set to the Tokyo time zone because I'm recording this video from Tokyo. So I guess it's actually smart there. Go ahead and do a continue. Normally it should say something like Phoenix or maybe whatever is your local city will show up there, and you can select, what is your proper time zone. Here you can see it also and guess that I'm using a Japanese keyboard, which I'm not, and which is very good actually because using the keyboard is kind of annoying. Let's go over. I'll do English, US, and English US. All right, so that's my keyboard layout. It probably auto selects for you. I had to do it just because of where I'm at. I'll go ahead and click continue. So username, I'll put in my name. Gives you your computer name. This is basically for like how the computer will show up on the network. Username already. Okay, I'll put in password. I'll just type SER334. That should be good enough for us. Let's see. I'll just leave these all there. Do you remember your password? Because you will need it to do some operations. Click continue. Okay, now we're going to have to sit here and wait for a little bit. It's going to now go and copy all the files from that image, right, that disk image, to our actual system that we're running. Okay, so now our installation is finally completed, and we're able to restart and actually get into our real operating system. So So I'm going to go ahead and click Restart. Here it says we should remove the installation media, which is basically the the disk that the operating system would be on. In this case, though, we can just press Enter and go ahead and restart it. Before you press Enter, you may need to make sure you click inside the window to make sure that the operating system the virtual machine has been selected, and it will get that Enter key press. So now our operating system has finished loading. I'm here at my login screen, so I'll go ahead and type in my password, press Enter, and here we go, a fresh install of Xubuntu running under VirtualBox.